Earlier this week, I was going through my Kindle trying to figure out what to read next. I stumbled upon How to Live by Derek Sivers, who is the founder of CD Baby, a programmer, musician, and author. I read his previous book, Anything You Want, and liked it. So I was like, why not? It's a short read anyway, let's go. Here are some of the takes from the first chapter called Be Independent. All misery comes from dependency. Create many sources of income, be willing to walk away from anything. Have more than one romantic partner or none. I just picked these very specific points to prove a point in a few seconds. Most of the chapter I felt myself agreeing, not with everything, but with quite a bit. He then continues with the second chapter called Commit. The more special ties we have, the happier we are. Commit to one career path and build your expertise and reputation over time. Marry. So after just reading 2 chapters of this book, it left me quite confused, to be honest. I was even wondering if Derek Sivers doesn't realize how his guidance he gives is conflicting or at some points even completely contradicting itself. I then checked the book info again and saw that it has a subtitle. 27 conflicting answers and one weird conclusion. Oh, okay, now it makes sense. But what is the point I'm trying to make here? Reading each of the chapters individually without the other one would have worked completely fine. In other words, and this is the conclusion to this very long intro into the discussion, take in enough advice and it all cancels to zero.
Regarding the guy that gets rich in 5 years, one of the tweets that you had on the cutting room floor was avoid people who got rich quickly. They're just giving you their winning lottery ticket numbers.
This is generally true of advice anyway, which is it's back to Scott Adams' systems, not goals. If you ask a specific person what worked for them, very often it's just like they're reading out the exact set of things that work for them, which may not be applicable for you. They're just reading their winning lottery ticket numbers. It's a little glib. There is something to be learned from them, but you can't just take their exact circumstance and map it onto yours. The best founders I know, they listen and read to everyone, but then they ignore everybody and they make up their own mind. They have their own internal model of how to apply things to their situation, and they do not hesitate to discard information. If you survey enough people, all the advice will cancel to zero. So you do have to have your own point of view, and when something is sent your way, you have to very quickly decide, is that true? Is that true outside of the context of what that person applied it in? Is it true in my context? And then do I want to apply it? You have to reject most advice, but you have to listen to and read enough of it to know what to reject and what to accept. Even in this podcast, you should examine everything. If something does not feel true to you, put it down, set it aside. If too many things seem untrue, delete this podcast.
But this is not a I want to bash self-help video. I think there are many good things about it as well. Reading a self-help book is showing a willingness to change positively. For many people, I think they can be a starter of positive momentum as they are motivating or maybe even inspiring sometimes. I think that I can thank self-help books for my habit of reading. I started with these type of books as they are very easy to read, which is what you want in the beginning because they just keep you reading. You eventually venture into other areas anyway, so they are a good starter in my opinion. A quote-unquote problem with a lot of self-help books is that they just have one central idea and then try to fill 300 pages with that idea by running through an endless amount of anecdotes. These type of books should really be blog posts or maybe a tweet thread instead. There are, however, some books that I would put in the self-help category that I can absolutely recommend and that I have gifted before. Atomic Habits, for example, is the best book on what creates habits, how they stick, and how to replace them. If you want to stop smoking or drinking, start reading or working out, or whatever else you may want to change, habits are absolutely key. Another real one is Can't Hurt Me, the story of how David Goggins went from nobody to one of the toughest men on the planet. The audiobook is easily one of the best audiobooks ever as it has podcast elements between chapters. How to Win Friends and Influence People, of course, is a classic, and the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, whose voice you've heard earlier, had a huge impact on me. It's a collection of Naval's famous tweet storms, podcasts, and interviews. I think what you want to avoid is getting into analysis paralysis, where you focus too much on new input, on new life hacks, and on new advice. By the way, this video on self-help probably, ironically, falls into the category of self-help. Reading too much self-help, whatever too much means, is a distraction from moving forward, from actually doing things. After all, it's about action. It doesn't make sense to read a cookbook if you never cook. You learn how to run a business by running a business, not in business school. If you're looking for self-help, why would you read a book written by somebody else? That's not self-help, that's help. I stumbled upon this quote and found it really interesting. Reading a self-help book really is help. Taking action on the book is self-help. And many of these books encourage actions that are done by the self. Journaling, meditation, walking. These are not reliant on input, on reading more self-help to get better at them. They are very natural self-help methods. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, said it best. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This was written in Meditations, which is one of my favorites as well. If we're being honest, the whole book can be summarized into "Get your shit together, Marcus," reiterated over and over again by the Roman emperor. But anyway, I still like the book. Also remember that all advice, just as intelligence itself, is always contextual. There is no one fix for everything. Everyone is different, and so different approaches are necessary. I talked a little bit about the whole idea of self-improvement and why people want to get better in my video on desire, which actually is one of my favorites, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with anything else I've ever created. My very basic take or understanding of self-help and self-improvement is that it's fun, or it should be fun at least. I don't know about you, but I like progress. I like getting faster when I run, stronger when I lift, better paid when I work, more creative when I create. This can all turn toxic and move into self-punishment, but it never did for me. I believe that self-help books have helped me more than they have hurt me. Thank you for watching. I had a lot of fun writing the script for this short video. It was entirely inspired by the 2 chapters of the Derek Sivers book, How to Live, that I mentioned in the beginning, and it just felt like I want to express my thoughts on this whole self-help and self-improvement thing, so here it is. It doesn't really fit the character of my channel, I think, but I don't really care. Yeah, I've told you that before, that I just want to create what I think about, what I want to express, and so here is this type of video again. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for further content, and then I see you next time.